Hi everybody, welcome to my 2-point perspective drawing. Today you're going to need a blank sheet of paper, a ruler, a pencil, and some type of eraser. I'm going to be using a kneaded eraser for this video. And I'm going to spend a lot of time making sure my first line, my horizon line, that I measured with my ruler is going straight across my paper. I'm going to make sure those edges of my ruler line up with the edges of my paper. So my drawing is going to be straight across my paper. It's easier to measure twice and draw the line once than to measure quickly and realize you have to draw the line over again. So because I'm in 2-point perspective, I have my 2 vanishing points. Those are going to be near the edges of the paper. Next, I'm going to draw the beginning of my objects or buildings. That's going to start with a vertical line. My vertical line can be above the horizon line, on the horizon line, or below the horizon line. I can draw objects anywhere I want in between the 2 vanishing points. So these vertical lines representing the corners of my objects or my buildings. When I draw the side of my buildings, I'm going to go from that vertical line to the vanishing point. This is going to create a converging line. Converging lines always meet up at the vanishing points. So right now I'm drawing in the right side of my building, and I'm going to go to the right vanishing point. To draw in the left side of my building, I'm going to move my ruler to the other side, and I'm going to go towards my left vanishing point. So now I have the 2 sides of my building. The next step is to figure out how far I want my building to go back into space. So basically the size or the length of the walls of the building. For this, I'm going to take a line that's parallel to the corner and take it straight up. This is going to represent the end of that building. Same thing for the other side. How far back do I want the left side of my building to go? These are artistic choices that I get to make. You can make different choices on your paper. It's up to you how far back you want your buildings to go in space. To draw the roof of the building, I am going to match up with my right vanishing point, and I'm going to start at the left corner of my building. So the roof is going to actually be the opposite of the sides. When I go to the other corner of my object, I'm going to go to my left vanishing point. And I can stop that line right where those 2 intersect. So now I can really see what my box is going to look like. In order to clear off some of these extra guidelines, I'm using my kneaded eraser to erase my converging lines. Everything after the edge of the box, I don't need anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and make a sort of outline with my kneaded eraser so I can see where my box stops and starts. And then I can just erase those extra converging lines. I'm going to do the same thing with the other boxes on my paper. When I draw the sides of those boxes, I'm going to be going to the vanishing point on the same side. So right side of the box, right vanishing point. Left side of the box, left vanishing point. If I'm drawing the roof or the floor, I'm going to switch vanishing points and go to the opposite side. So let's go ahead and draw the sides in of my other boxes. Once I finish drawing the sides of my boxes, then I can decide how far back they're going to go in space. At this point, I'm beginning to think about composition. What are my boxes going to look like all together next to each other? For me, I think it's interesting to have the corners of my box not match up with any of the other lines I've drawn. So if I'm holding my ruler up and it's right next to a line that I already have in another box, like right here, I just decided to move it over a little bit. So that creates more visual interest by not having these lines meeting up. You can make your own artistic choices about how you want your building to look. And like we said before, when I'm doing the floor or the roof of a box, I'm going to be going to that opposite side vanishing point. Check and make sure all your lines match up. I had to go back and fix this one. Then you can take your eraser and erase the horizon line in that center building, any building on the horizon line, we want to erase that to show the art technique overlapping, where I can see some things in front and some things behind. Now I can see that front box is in front of the horizon line. Next, I can also erase those converging lines that I don't need anymore. They were just guidelines for me now. Now that I've decided what my object's going to look like, I can erase them. It's up to you to choose if you want to keep that horizon line in your final drawing or not. It shows where the land meets the sky, where the ground meets whatever's happening in the air. Maybe your blocks are floating in space and you don't want to keep that horizon line because there's no land or sky in your drawing. For this example, I'm going to keep my horizon line. So let's erase all those extra lines. That is so beautiful. Look at how when you erase the converging lines, your buildings really pop out like an illusion. We are doing it. 2-point perspective. Okay, your boxes look amazing. What else can we add to this drawing? What if these buildings have a window or something growing out of them, or this is a factory? How do we add inserts to our building? So to add an insert, you're going to first create a parallel line right next to the corner, showing how far you want your insert to go. I'm going to make this side of my building a huge window. So like the right side of my building, I'm going to go from that corner to the right vanishing point of my new frame. So I am framing this building out. Now we can see what it would be like inside. Okay, what would it be like to add some stairs? First thing I'm going to do is extend the floor on the left side of that building. I'm using the lines from my right vanishing point to make 2 converging lines that make the floor pulled forward. I'm going to put my stairs coming out of the left side of the building. So on top of those 2 converging lines, I'm going to draw a line that's parallel to the corners of the building, making that little cutout or opening in the left side. To show the slope of the stairs, I can draw a triangle from that first converging line we made up to the parallel line we made. But I need to make sure it falls in line with my perspective by drawing another converging line from that first section to the next section. I'm going to match that up with my ruler to make sure my lines are the correct length. Now I can draw that triangle. So now that I have the cutout for my stairs done, I'm going to be able to match those 2 corners that I've created. This is the slope of my stairs, how steep my stairs are going to be. Okay, so now that we have our line set up to go from that corner to the edge, it kind of looks like a ramp. And how I'm going to add the actual steps in is to line up my ruler with my left vanishing point, and I'm going to draw some converging lines, and each converging line represents a new step. So all my lines for my stairs have to go to that vanishing point on the same side as the building that I'm drawing. Now I have a bunch of confusing lines behind the lines where my stairs are going to be, so I'm going to go back and erase my original guideline that I needed to get the slope of the stairs. But now the only lines I need are the edge, the very edge of that triangle, and then all the lines representing the stairs. So next I'm going to need my right vanishing point to show me how far out my steps are going to go. I'm going to take my pencil right at the corner of those converging lines from the left side, and I'm going to draw a very short converging line from the right side. I'm going to do this to both the front side of my stairs and the back side of my stairs. All of those short little lines are coming from my right vanishing point. The closer I get to my horizon line, the more flat are the lines that I'm drawing. So it gets a little bit more confusing when you're drawing short or detailed lines the closer you get to your horizon line. Now these lines that kind of look like staples, those are going to represent the top of each stair. So I can take my ruler and draw a vertical line right from that edge down to meet the triangle, the original edge of that triangle. I'm going to do that to each line. So now you can see our stairs going up and then over. We're creating that sort of L shape. Our last step in order to draw the stairs is to add some converging lines right where those two right angle lines intersect. So right at the corner of that shape, that's the top of my stair riser. So I'm going to need a converging line right there. Now that I can see where my stairs are, all the parts of my stairs, I can go through and do some details like the cutout. Where are my stairs coming from? Just like I made the window on the other side of the building, I am going to create another frame or a cutout for this side to show where my stairs are coming out of the building. Once we finish framing it out for our cutout, I can erase all of the guidelines and I can add in some shading. I can also add how my stairs enter the building, making a kind of stage for them. I'm going to my right vanishing point for that line. Now I can shade it in. And because I'm using shading, I had to figure out where is my light source. So if there's a shadow on the floor, where do you guys think the light is shining from? Where's the direction of the light coming from? It's coming from this corner over here. I like to draw little light bulbs or maybe a little ray of sunshine so I remember when I'm drawing where is my light source at. This helps me decide where to put the shadows later on in my drawing. So if the darkest point is the floor, then the light is shining right on those risers of the stairs, and the other side of that is going to be a medium tone. Using my stairs as a guideline, I can go ahead and shade in the rest of my shapes. I'm also going to make some stairs going out from the other side of my window frame that I made before. So I'm going to follow that converging line representing the floor of the building. And now I have to make those original ramp shapes like the triangle. Just like we did with the other side, where do I want my stairs to come out at? Where do I want my stairs to exit the building at? Once I have that ramp set up, I'm going to make those converging lines from the right vanishing point because these stairs are on the right side of the building. So to draw those zigzag lines that represent the stairs going up and down, I am going to use my left vanishing point and some vertical lines to show the opposite thing I did on the other side of the building. Now my stairs are done, and I can go ahead and shade them in using my light source as the same guideline. After I shade all my stairs in, then I can shade the rest of my buildings in. All right, once my buildings are shaded in, I noticed that I need to go back and add in the roof of this building because I can see through the windows, so I should be able to see the top of the roof. I'm going to go to my right vanishing point to get that line at the top and then go to my left vanishing point to finish off that line for the roof of my building alongside the horizon line. So now I can see straight through the building. I also need to frame this out like I framed out the windows on the other sides of the building. Now that I've framed everything out, I can add some shading to this section to further show depth in my drawing. All right, but it doesn't stop there. We're gonna add an insert on that top building in the corner. So imagine what it would be like to add a chimney or something like that to your building. We are going to take our ruler, start at the left vanishing point, and create a converging line on that left side of our building. Then we can use the right vanishing point to show that it's actually going to come out of the side of our building. So we're going to draw two lines, two converging lines on each corner of the first line we drew. This is how far out my chimney or ledge or shelf is going to go. Then adding two vertical lines on top of that is showing me how high that line is going to go. So now I can make something come out of the chimney or come out of the building and connect to the chimney. And I can just end that with a converging line to my left side vanishing point. So let's make something coming out of this building. Let's have tubes of some type of weird radioactive fluid that's coming out of this box on the top and spreading to the other boxes in our amazing fantasy world that we are creating. Okay, so if I want my tube to exit this box on the top, I'm going to need to imagine what it's going to look like coming out of here and coming through this shelf or this ledge I've created. I can use a curved line to show that it's going actually through that, not just up to it, but through it and out the other side. And as I'm drawing this tube, I'm thinking about the rules I already know about perspective. If something is farther away from you, it's going to be smaller on my paper. And if something is close to you, it's going to be bigger on your paper. So as I'm drawing this tube, I'm thinking about that. If the tube is coming closer to me, I'm going to make that tube more wider. If it's going farther away from me, I'm going to make that tube more thinner. And I can draw any types of curvy shapes. You don't have to draw just geometric shapes in 2-point perspective. You can draw all kinds of curves, ovals, blobs. What if that's what was coming out of our tube? Some blob, slime, really gooey, crazy stuff. So let's add a whole puddle over here. We're using our converging line as a guide to where my puddle will start. Then I'm just making some type of blob shape to finish it off. Now I can shade the whole thing in. So I can use my kneaded eraser to adjust my shading, clean up those edges, and if I have any smudges to where my hand has like smudged against the paper, fingerprints, anything like that, my eraser can lift those right off the paper and clean that up. Okay, let's add one little doodad all the way in the back here. I just want something extra from my tube. So because this is happening in the back of my drawing, I want to add something real small and detailed back there just to give the illusion of depth. I just have some little lines representing that tube coming out of the other side of the building, and then some type of fountain. Maybe this is a vacuum, or maybe this is connected to a river. I'm going to add a little shape here and shade that in, and that's how I'm going to finalize my 2-point perspective drawing. You can come up with any add-ins that you like, and you can totally make this design your own. All right, let's get creating.